Hello guys. So I thought we could do a quick video on all of the different ways that I swatch. So whenever I get new inks in, I go through and I swatch them different ways. So I have this book here, which is by brand, and it's the Kokio Campus Smart Ring. And I sort by brands in here. So I have like my Birmingham Pen Company all together, my Colorverse inks all together. I do a different page for samples, and then for full inks, they all go here. And then I use these Wearing Gold swatch cards too, and I have different ones because the inks that I'm swatching today are all Cult Pens exclusives. They all go on the Atlas exclusive Wearing Gold card. And then I also only put full bottles on the Atlas cards, or on the Wearing Gold cards rather. And then every single ink that I have goes on this piece of Kokio printer paper. So that I think it would be fun to just have every single ink I've ever used or ever had even a sample of, and have it on just this one paper. So I keep these go in a business card like binder thing, and then these go in a I think it's for like trading cards technically. So I thought it would be fun to kind of go through all of the ways that I swatch. So over here, if you can see it, I have some water. Of course, I have the 4 inks I'm going to swatch. Sometimes I use the Dominant Industry ink muddler. Sometimes I just use my, what do you call it? The Kakimori nib. Today I'm using the stainless steel nib on a River City Penco holder. And you'll also see me use my little glass stirring stick to do on the paper. And then finally I do an acrylic block and just a little pipette. And that's what these are. So let's look at it. I know you can see my camera shaking a little bit. It's kind of propped up against the table strangely today, and I need to get that sorted. So first we have Dominant Industry Cult Pens exclusive Muddy Puddle. Make sure my pipette's clean. Then I have an old t-shirt off to the side where I kind of wipe off my instruments and what have you. So you give this one a good shake. Cult Pens is a UK stationery store, and I've ordered from them several times. Always had pretty good experiences. Their customer service is great too if you need them for anything, which is important. You know, choose where you're going to spend your money. So I do a couple of drops of ink. Ooh, I almost forgot one of the ways that I sort my inks. The other way that I do it is I took like this is like a Tool brand binder, TUL tool. And these are all sorted by color family. So I think most of my inks will be in the brown family today, but you can kind of see here. So I'll add those in as well. So I just take my acrylic block and I swirl it around so that there's, you know, a decent coating everywhere. And then it's very much the same on the Tomoe River paper, which is what's in the disc bound journal. It's pretty much all Tomoe River. And with the colors differentiation, some of that, you know, is very much up to the individual. So it may be that you wouldn't consider it brown, you would consider it more of a pink, or you would consider it more of a green or a gray, but you know, it's kind of up to the individual. However, whoever is sorting these feels it ties into a color. So I'll put a little drop of ink on here as well. Mostly because I like to see what it's going to end up looking like. And you can kind of see the comparison here between the Ink Dependence Trusted by Val and Trusted by Val with shimmer. And here's what they look like on this paper. So this is the with shimmer, this is the without. So very similar. Sometimes you'll find a color that pulls a bit more of a different undertone out when you're doing it this way. And that's kind of why I do it this way. I'm not saying it makes sense, I'm just saying it's what I do. That was a very long explanation that nobody asked for, but here we are. Okay, and then I will take my Kakimori, again on my River City Penco holder. I'll do one line, a thinner line yet. And this one is Muddy Puddle. And do the same thing here. I'm going to turn the paper a little bit so that I can get a consistent writing experience. Then I also do this just to kind of help further showcase like any shading or sheening that occurs in the ink. then we'll do the Wearing Gold card. I know a lot of people choose to use like paintbrushes or Q-tips, cotton swabs, cotton buds, whatever you call them where you're from. I just found this way works well for me. So this is Diamine, Colt pens, Muddy Puddles. I'll say it 1,000 times, so we'll let that dry. And then because I already have the Kakimori out, I'll go ahead and do my little piece of paper here. It's probably excessive to do it all the ways that I do it, but I enjoy it. So I take my little stir and I just make a big old swatch. And again, I just like to be able to see kind of across different methods. This one is probably the most recent addition to the way that I choose to swatch my inks, but I was trying to find a way to sort them by color versus by brand, and I just decided to have two different methods. Plus the Kokyo paper to make, I think this is a 3.5 by 4 inch or 2.5 by 4 inch piece of paper. It's the same size as like a trading card, like a Pokemon card would be. And I just cut them on a little guillotine style paper cutter. Alrighty, so next we have Maple Leaf. Get this ink, or get the shimmer to mix. So Maple Leaf. I'm gonna bet this one's a bit more warm toned, just based on the writing. It looks like it is. Shimmer's not really wanting to mix up very well, so we'll give it a shake. Okay, try that again. So we'll make our little dots. Dot, dot, dots, 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 dots. And then I'll do a little dot over here as well. You might be able to hear the rain out. It's pouring, which is great because we've been in a bit of a drought here in North Central Florida. So, and none of my plants are happy. And for those of you who don't follow me on Instagram, not that I have a ton of my plant photos on there, I also am an avid, mostly aroid plant collector. I do have a few non-aroids, but aroids pretty much dominate my plant collection. Ooh, it's pretty. It's more of a red, like a crimson color, but it is more warm. I was right about that. Looks like there's some pretty shading in here too. I'm gonna move my water so I don't knock it over because I've done that more than once. But it's fine. Thankfully, every time I've knocked over my water, it's been with like clear water, not with a bunch of ink already in there. So, I'll take my W's where I can. I choose to look at things with gratitude. I mean, if I had to knock the water over, at least it wasn't super inky water that stained everything, right? Glass half full. For the record, I'm not a glass half full kind of person usually, but I try to embrace it when and where I can. Okay, so again, this is Diamine and Colt pens. Maple Leaf. And I will show them all to you once they're fully dry. And I do think I really prefer this stainless steel Kakimori to the brass one. It just seems to write a little bit better. I had a hard time with my brass one, kind of always writing dry and sort of scratching up my paper and whatnot, no matter what I did to it. And when I say what I did to it, I don't mean like I altered it in any meaningful way. I didn't like grind it or anything, or try and smooth it. but it would just always kind of be scratchy, and I didn't get a very consistent, even with wet inks, right? Because on dry inks, I could understand it, but even on the wetter inks, it didn't really want to play ball all the time. But I haven't really experienced that with the stainless steel nib. So I'll embrace it. I will embrace it. Wonderful. And then one more from this collection. I mean, the other two I have are both from Diamine and Cult Pens, but this kind of, I don't know what this specialty collection was called, but, and this one is called Murky Bucket. And it looks like this one might be more of a gray, but I'm still going to put it in the brown category. And if I'm being honest, it's mostly because I am too lazy to take out the gray page for the Tomoe River paper. But let's see. Okay. I'll do my little dots of ink. I guess we'll move this one over here. Kind of start there. Yeah, it looks like that one's going to be more gray blue, but it'll be okay. Doesn't have to be perfect to be functional. Yeah, that's definitely not brown at all. Oh well, I'll sort it back out later. That's pretty. It's very pretty. It's kind of a dark indigo-y, which I was realizing that I didn't really have any indigo inks or anything that would really qualify as like a blue, black, or an indigo. So it's kind of great that I have this one, because it looks like this might be the perfect kind of gray indigo blue color. Murky Bucket. Seems to be very well not pigmented, lubricated too. It's very glidey. Which I love. I tend to love the qualities of dry inks. For example, I love a chroma shading ink, but they always tend to be super duper dry. So sometimes it's nice to just have the sort of smooth feeling of a really well lubricated ink. I'm sure you're shaking a bit there. If you are, I do apologize. Hopefully it's not too bad. I do this too, just so I can get a feel for like the shading in a writing sample, the little line here. Again, not saying it makes sense, just saying it's what I do. Rinse her off. Yeah, that's real glidey. So it'll probably take a little bit for this one to dry. In my experience, really well lubricated stuff, really well lubricated inks, am I okay? Tend to take a little while to dry, which is not a big deal. If you live in a more humid environment like I do, most things take a while to dry. So, not like it's something I haven't experienced before. And then our last one, last but not least, is one from the Inkvent Green Edition. But if I'm understanding it correctly, which correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, I welcome correction. If I'm saying something wrong, I want to learn. This one, I think that Pumpkin was a color in the Inkvent, but Cult Pens exclusive is the shimmer version of that. And I just thought, you know, I love fall and autumn. Not that I get much of one where I live geographically. But I thought this could be like a really, really nice one for the fall and autumn. I mean, it's not even fully summer yet, but it's routinely 90 Fahrenheit here on a daily basis. And has been for 2 or 3 months now. And we will definitely get into the at least real feel of over 100, probably in the next few days. Or I'm sorry, in the next few weeks, not few days. So, you know, I'm just gonna go ahead and embrace those cooler fall vibes. And for me, a cooler fall vibe is like a good 85. A nice solid 85 degrees is what we get in the fall here. So However, I'm kind of from the Northeast, so I'm very familiar with all the fall things. And this one is Pumpkin Shimmer. That one's really pretty. I mean, I've said that about all of them, so, you know. Recency bias is obviously alive and well with me, but I do think they're all so pretty. Oop, I did not mean to rinse that yet. Oh well. Oh well. Small potato problems. Whoopsie. Well, this is going to remind me of the scene in Finding Nemo where the little squid's like, you guys made me ink. Why? I don't know. Probably because I was talking about it last night with a friend. Okay. Wonderful. So we will look at these in a bit more detail once they have all dried. All right, so everything is dry. And let's take a little bit of a closer look. So here it is on the Tomoe River paper. We have the Muddy Puddle, Maple Leaf, Murky Bucket. And by the way, none of these qualify as a brown. I realize they're on the paper with brown. Probably don't listen to me for your ink sorting advice. They're not brown. I guess maybe Muddy Puddle is a little bit brown. The other two, definitely not. They don't know brown. She doesn't even go here. And then I guess we'll just go kind of by color here. So we have the Wearing Gold swatch card and the Kokyo Campus printer paper. Hopefully some of that shimmer is picking up well on the camera. It is very pretty. Maybe that'll help. And then we have the Maple Leaf. Then we have Murky Bucket, which the Murky Bucket is kind of a denim, blue jean, indigo color, which is exactly what I was kind of lacking. Very pretty. We have the Pumpkin Shimmer, which the Pumpkin Shimmer has more shading and kind of like a hint of sheen even here. I don't know if it'll pick up really well, but it's very pretty. It has a little bit of a haloing effect around the lettering down here. It's really pretty. It has a lot more depth than I thought it would based on the swatches I had looked at. And then on the Kokyo Campus paper, here's what we're working with. And one example of why I swatch them so many ways is because Maple Leaf looks very different across the different ways I swatch, the different papers I've swatched on, to me. So it's pink on the Tomoe River paper, has more of a pink. On the Wearing Gold card in the Kokyo Campus, it's more of a deep berry color. And then on the Kokyo, or I'm sorry, on the Kokyo printer paper, on the Kokyo Campus paper, it has more of a plummy berry undertone. So that's why I like to do it across different papers. So I appreciate you watching. If this is the first time you're here, welcome. My name is Care. I hope you'll hit the subscribe button and check out my future videos. If you're a return viewer, I cannot thank you enough for coming back and watching another video. If you swatch your inks this way, let me know. What methods do you use to organize them? Some people are spreadsheet people. I also have a spreadsheet of inks and samples and bottles and when I bought them and the color family and so forth and so on. And that one's more my on the go. So if I'm out and about and I don't know if I already have a color or have something similar, I can hit up my spreadsheet and take a peek. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. If there's something else you would like to see and I didn't do that for you, feel free to let me know in the comments. I am happy to give the people what they want. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day and stay classic.